Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Tabula Rasa online retreat weekend. I'm Peter. I'm going to be the host this weekend. And we've got a beautiful theme, the happy dream. So yeah, I can just let you know a little bit about this coming weekend. We'll have a session right now and another one later on today with members from our community. You also have a movie workshop coming up tomorrow, all-day movie workshop. And then we'll have our final session on Sunday. But to start with, we have Francis here with us in Mexico, and we have David at the monastery in Utah. So I'm going to pass it over to you guys now.
Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. Hi, Francis.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone.
What a fun topic. Happy dream, the happy dream. Can't think of a better topic to explore for the weekend. It's beautiful. Yeah, we're so grateful that you could all be there with us. You know, we're all here together in our Zoom room, and you know, I was happy when I got to the part of the course where I read the line, "The Holy Spirit needs happy learners to learn the final lessons of happiness." So that to me told me that I really needed to get into the happiness if I was going to see the world differently and allow the Holy Spirit to offer a replacement for the ego's world of guilt and judgment. So that's what we're into. We're into going all the way with happiness. And he didn't say the Holy Spirit needs conflicted learners. He didn't say the Holy Spirit needs resistant learners. He didn't say the Holy Spirit needs reluctant learners. He said the Holy Spirit needs happy learners. If you're going to learn the final happy lessons, wouldn't you have to be happy to really experience the fullness of your gifts? So, Francis, we love talking about this topic. I always am excited to talk about the happy dream because that's our dream of non-judgment, and it always comes back to guidance. Follow the guidance to get to the happiness. Yeah, that's our plan.
Yeah, I think this topic is so fitting about the spiritual journey, because I remember that when I first met David in 2009, the first 2-hour gathering that I went to, David was there talking about the fruit of A Course in Miracles practiced with the Holy Spirit is that you can be happy consistently and without exception. And he said he hadn't had a bad day for 20 years, and it was very, very striking to have someone testify that. And I thought it was something I've never heard in the world. Doesn't matter what the promises were, nobody, no things can promise a happiness that doesn't end. And I can say that just by truly following this pathway, in experience, this is truly the goal and the means. Happiness, happy learner, and happy dream is not only the means, but it's also the end. As we, I also realize as I practice more and more, I realize I associate this word happiness solely now with the Spirit and God, and it started to not really have any association with the world of images and what it can offer. It only associates with the Spirit because it only comes from God and comes from Spirit. So truly, yeah, as we give ourselves over to follow the voice for God, Holy Spirit, happiness is absolutely inevitable. So
Yeah, I like that line in the Course too, that happy dreams come true, not because they're dreams, but because they're happy. It's the state of mind that brings the happy dreams. The things, you can't be sitting back and judging, oh, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. Oh, that was a good day. Oh, that was a bad day. Oh, I had happy, good things happen to me today. And then, oh, another day I had bad things happen to me. That's all just judgment. And the happy dream is a state of non-judgment. Jesus is not trying to say you're going to reach an egoic happy dream, because the ego is a death wish. How would a death wish know what happiness is? You know, it would have to be fake happiness, false happiness, and that's a happiness based on outcomes that you have prejudged as good outcomes. So if you prejudge certain things as good and you prejudge other certain things as bad, that when the good things seem to occur, you'll have pseudo happiness. And when the bad things occur, you'll have pseudo unhappiness. But pseudo is not reality. And I've been sharing in the last couple of weeks about my friend Dorothy, who I met probably, I think, around 1990. And I just had a call with her somewhat recently. And she was having things happen to her body and memory that most people would say are bad things. I mean, you know, when I talk to people about Alzheimer's or dementia, they just shake their head. They go, oh, what a pity, what a pity. As if like losing your memory of things in the world is a bad thing, because you can't function. David, they say you can't function. Well, I think your mind is always active, and your mind is in the heart of God and Jesus. So your mind is actually doing very well. Even if you lose the memory of things of this world, you're still in good hands with the Holy Spirit, because memories are not truth. Memories are not reality. So dementia, my grandmother was diagnosed with dementia. She was quite happy, quite consistently happy, but she couldn't tell you who she had breakfast with, or she couldn't tell you what happened the previous 3 hours. And my friend Dorothy was the same way. She was in an automobile smash up, had a mangled foot, a black toe, and she started to lose her memory of that she was a mother, that she had two children, that she, you know, where she was from, England. She started to lose all that for a while. And then she started to little by little get little bits and pieces back. That's how she contacted me, because she saw my name on a book in the library for A Course in Miracles. And she said to her helper friend, I think I know this guy. And then she eventually got in contact, and we laughed for like 2 hours. But that laughter is based on a state of non-judgment. That laughter is not based on a state of your body. It's not based on the state of your world in terms of your specifics. It's based on your point of view. Your interpretation of the world brings the happiness. So that's really what we want to talk about today, because, you know, admittedly, what Jesus teaches us in the Course is to the ego, it's extremely radical. For example, Jesus teaches that the body is a learning device, nothing more and nothing less. It's just, he's very common learning device. So the body that you think is yours is a learning device. The bodies of your brothers and sisters throughout the world, the 7.8 billion, they're all just learning devices to help your mind wake up. You may think that your body is different from the other bodies, but actually it's the same, because your body is a learning device and the other bodies are a learning device. You may, I see a pen and a marker here. You may think that your body's a pen and your brother and sister, they're a marker. They look different. You and your brother and sister look different, but a pen and a marker are both the writing devices. So in that sense, they're both learning devices. But what Jesus says is, if you read meaning, like lesson number 2, I've given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. If you give your learning device the meaning of being a human being, breathing human being with organic processes in linear time. If you give it a personality and suddenly the puppet is no longer a puppet, but it's like Pinocchio, it's a real human being, and you give it real thoughts and real beliefs and a real private mind, you've suddenly assigned so many things from your mind to this learning device, and suddenly you've made it into something important. And then if this device seems to get famous, oh, or if it gets rich, oh, or if it gets many skills, or if it's beautiful or sexy or smart, then you see you've given a lot of meaning to this learning device, which is just an instrument, just a little tool for the mind to use to let go of the ego. That's all the body is. It's a learning device used by the Holy Spirit to let go of the ego and nothing more. And Jesus says this learning device can and often is over-evaluated. You know, if you're a mind, if you're a divine mind, you can't be a famous divine mind because there's only one mind. Who would you be famous to? You can't really be rich because the divine mind is all that there is, so it's not rich or poor. You see, these are all just attributes that are given to the learning device to help you forget that it's a learning device so that the ego can convince you that this body is who you are. This personality is who you are. And you can't know happiness as long as you believe that you're something that you're not. If you forget your spirit and you start attaching all this meaning to the learning device, then you're not going to know the happy dream. You're just going to be hoping to have more happy outcomes in the world. And Jesus says, there are no happy outcomes in this world. Lesson 128, the world I see holds nothing that I want. He's not trying to give us hope for finding happy outcomes in the world. He's saying there are none, and I'm going to let you know that from the get-go. So for Francis and I, this is our life. This is you give way to the happiness, you give way to the guidance, but you don't evaluate body symptoms, because what difference does it make if your learning device seems to have symptoms or not? It's still just a learning device. And Jesus goes even further and he says, learning devices don't make mistakes. That's right. Your body has never made a mistake, ever. Learning devices do not make mistakes. Errors are in the mind, don't blame your learning device. Don't say you are getting too old and you're too fat and you're not intelligent enough and you're losing your memory. You see, if you keep blaming the learning device, and the learning device doesn't even make any mistakes. It's the judgments in the mind projected onto the learning device is where the errors occur. So this is like a deep metaphysical context for what we're talking about this weekend. I see Roland Ritter's there. He was concerned about his learning device or other learning devices, and if you can apply the workbook lessons equally to either one. Of course you can. A learning device is a learning device. If it looks like this as your brother and this is you, you can apply the workbook lessons equally to both learning devices, you and the others, so to speak, without problems, because that's actually what Jesus wants you to do. Make no exceptions to the lessons. So, fun. Francis, we're in for a cooker this weekend.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you were talking, I actually read a sentence in the course yesterday. Jesus says, anytime that you put the body's betterment as your main primary goal, you bring death closer, because that is what you're here to seek, as identify with the body. It's like, whoa, anytime, because the way that we seek happiness, before the course, It's all about seeking the betterment of the body, seeking the betterment of a self-identity. And here Jesus said, learn from me, and we're going 180-degree opposite direction. We're not trying to seek from that realm anymore. And here we're seeking for the freedom of the mind. You know, freedom of the mind comes from non-judgment. Freedom of the mind comes from forgiveness. Freedom of the mind comes from not making decisions for ourselves, but letting the Spirit make decisions for God, for us, every single day. And that is a day in and day out practice, a day in, day out choice to aim for the freedom of the mind. Is a total opposite direction, that's for sure.
Yeah. Francis and I were talking. Francis did a counseling call recently, and I've had a number of counseling calls where people will kind of, when you get into the counseling call and they feel all the love and acceptance, then they start to spill the beans of their plan of awakening, and it involves the future. I'm gonna finish my studies. I'm going to get a good job. And when I have a good job and I'm financially sound and I have a good apartment or house and I have things, when things are right, when I have all the conditions in the world right, then I'm really going to open to the Course and practice and live this Course in the future. You see, and I can relate to that because that was my plan before the Course came. I called the game that I played in my mind, I'll be happy when. And the I'll be happy when game is, once my finances look this way, once my relationship status looks this way, once I have a stable, secure life in form, then Jesus, I will be ready to take your plan. Then I'm ready to be the happy learner. But until I get the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle in order, I'm not a happy learner. I'm a frightened learner. I can only give you so much time, Jesus. I'll do your lessons, but I got busy stuff to do, important stuff to do, because I've got to work it out on my own. I've got to survive, and I've got to do the right things and make it. I have to make it in the world before I can do your Course. Of course, it never worked. My game of I'll be happy when finally was intercepted by Jesus himself, where Jesus was like, no, listen, this game is getting you nowhere. You're like a hamster spinning your mind on the hamster wheel with I'll be happy when, and that's an ego game. If not now, then when? You know, like my friend Dorothy would say, so what about the past? Now what? And Jesus would say, yeah, so what about the future? Now what? What about, are you going to follow me now? So Francis and I know from our own experiences and also from our counseling calls that oftentimes people say, well, I can't really give myself over to study and practice the Course and understand what it's saying until the conditions are right. And then for some of you, you do reach a point where you feel the conditions are right, and then you try to study the Course as if it's a textbook, and you think you're going to intellectually learn the Course. That is the biggest joke. To think that you're going to intellectually grasp a teaching device that is meant for you to let go of everything you know about the world. When you believe you'll reach a certain crescendo of study, and you'll suddenly go, I got it. I understand the Course. I have achieved one of my goals in life. And then the angels all laugh and Jesus laughs. And then the next thing is, no. Peace and understanding go together. And Jesus says, until you pass the test of perfect peace, you don't understand anything. Literally, you can't understand anything at all until you pass the test of perfect peace, because perfect peace is where spiritual transformation occurs. You know, it's in the peace of mind. It's not in intellectual understanding. I've been traveling and teaching the Course for over 30 years, and one of the most common things I hear is, well, I read this in the Course. I get that intellectually, but, and I stop, well, stop right there, intellectually, but, the but cancels out the intellectual understanding. How can you understand something intellectually and put the word but after it? The word but literally cancels out what you just stated. So I said, maybe we can quit the game of I get that intellectually, but I can't live it. Or Helen Schuckman herself, the scribe of the Course, she said, I know the Course is true, but I don't believe it. and Jesus says in the Course, this Course will be believed entirely or not at all. This is not, you don't get points, brownie points for understanding the metaphysics. It's your points come in your peace of mind that comes from the transfer of training of using the workbook and not making any exceptions. So that's what